This episode is sponsored by Anchor. Greetings and welcome to the DoEvilDeeds podcast, where I, your host, Destiny Bradshaw, sometimes bring on a guest to discuss the evils of the world and try to give the word evil a new perspective. For today's episode, this is part 2 of my 4-part series of Behind the Evil. So this is Psychopaths versus Sociopaths, and I'm joined with myself again, as will I be for every episode of this 4-part series. And this is the part of the podcast where I would typically ask the guest, or in this case myself, about an evil deed that I have recently done to prove that we all have a little bit of evil inside of us, and this is just one of my ways to give a new perspective to the word evil and how we think of evil. So, an evil deed that I have recently done is, I feel like this is a therapy session. Like I'm telling you guys, like, these are the problems I'm recently having. But this is about me being evil, because I'm bad to the bone. I am filled with evil. Anyway, one thing I've been doing recently, and I noticed that I did this morning, is pretending like I'm busy to avoid people. And I know a lot of people do this. I know this isn't just a me thing, but there are certain people in particular that every time I see them, I'm like, I don't want to talk to them right now. It's not, and I mean, I can be a pretty social person, but I'm also very antisocial, and I'm not saying that to be one of those people that are, I'm antisocial to like seem cool or whatever. No, I've just always been this way, and I have a job where I'm very to myself, and there's some people where I feel like I could talk to them all day long, but there are some of them where I'm just, every time I know it's going to be a longer conversation than what I want it to be. So I'm like, no, I'm just going to pretend like I'm busy. Like this morning, I don't even know what I was doing. I was just clicking tabs and stuff and being like, yes, I'm so busy right now. I'm like, good morning. I'm sorry. I'm really busy. But I wasn't. I was not. I mean, I had stuff that I could be busy with, but I was pretending. I was, doing an evil deed. Alright, so enough of my evil deed. So now, let's get into today's topic, psychopaths versus sociopaths. So let's go ahead and start off with psychopaths and go in, alphabetical order. P comes before S. Just in case you did not know. I don't know why I said that. I mean, you guys know. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe there's like a bird listening to this and didn't go to public school, and you never know though. I mean, have you ever seen a bird inside of a school before? I have, but that's just because I accidentally got in. Because I remember one time I was in elementary school. That's right, guys. I went to elementary school. And there was a bird that got in. And the rest of the kids were freaking out. And I was like, it's just a bird. It's just a bird. It's okay. Why do kids freak out? And even adults will freak out over birds getting inside of a building. Or if there's a wasp. The wasp could be on the opposite side of the building. But they're like, watch out, guys. There's a wasp inside the building. I'm going way off topic here. I don't know. Do you guys like it whenever I go off topic? Is that a fun thing? If it is, let me know. And I will go off topic a lot because it's very, very easy for me. My brain goes on one track and then it's like squirrel. And I look over for a second and then I see something else and I get out of my car while it's still going and start towards it. That made no sense. I don't get out of my car while it's moving, just to be clear, guys. Just to be clear. However, there have been many times where I thought that my car was parked and it wasn't, and I rolled a little bit forward, but nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened because of that. But I do gotta watch out for that. Okay, so let's talk about psychopaths. By the way, a lot of this information I got from ESL.com, because they have a nice, pretty chart that tells the differences, and that's what appealed me so much to this source. So, psychopaths are the way that they are because of genetics. So it's a genetic type of mental illness. These people are not typically violent, but they are incapable of feeling empathy, thus not being able to be in a genuine, loving, and caring relationship of really any sort. These people are also strategists. They carefully curate diabolical plans before executing them. They are kind of like parrots in a sense. Or is that the bird that mimics? Because they can mimic behaviors to appear to be normal. You know, they do observe a lot. From my research that I've done is that they very much observe how people act so that they can camouflage themselves into being that type of person and get, the love and respect from people to manipulate them in some type of way. And now I'm going to go ahead and talk about with sociopaths, because I have a fun little thing I'm going to do. Instead of telling a story or an instance with each thing, I'm going to play a little game. But yeah, so we're gonna, I don't know why I said but yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about sociopaths real quick. Sociopaths are the way that they are because of exterior factors such as people, places, and things like that. That was me clapping, by the way, because I talk with my hands, so a little bit of ASMR. Alright, I'm done. Now, these people can have close, intimate relationships, and they are very reckless. They may trail behind clues while they're doing a crime because, like I said, they are reckless. But they are also the most dangerous criminals known to man because of their ability to make these connections. So, psychopaths, they try to appear normal and so they're trying to be normal. Sociopaths are able to be normal, but they're very reckless. So that is what makes them so dangerous. Whereas psychopaths are not super loving, but they do try to mimic normal behavior so that they can try to create some sort of connections so that, they can manipulate and do such. But sociopaths are, they are aware of what's normal already and they can act normal. So there you go. There's the differences. Psychopaths, genetic, sociopaths, exterior factors. And going back to episode 1, sociopaths are typically this way because of anxiety, depression, trauma, all the things that we talked about in the last episode. Those are a lot of the factors that lead up to them being sociopaths. And yeah, so that's really all I got for the differences. And so the fun game that I'm going to play is I have some lists pulled up of sociopaths and psychopaths. And I've been reading them, and a lot of them have the same people on them. So I'm going to talk about whether I think that they are a psychopath or a sociopath. And you at home can go ahead and tell me what you think that they are based off of, based off of this, And in case you didn't listen to last week's episode, you can submit anytime, like I ask you a question or you want to tell me something, any of that type of stuff, you can always tell me by putting in the comments on the YouTube channel that I have, which is at DoEvilDeeds. You can put it in you can put it in a TikTok comment, but TikTok comments usually have to be very short. And all of my social medias it's at DoEvilDeeds. I have a Google form in the description. In the description I have a link tree, and in that link tree I have a link labeled Google form. And you can go ahead and tell me your answers or anything you want to tell me in there. And on Spotify, there's a community tab. You can do such there. Let me see, what else am I missing anything? Anywhere where you think that I would see your answer, go ahead and put it there. So if you want to play along, you can. I'm not stopping you. I'm encouraging you. So we're going to start with, this is labeled serial killers that are famous sociopaths. And by the way, this website is called healthyplace.com. And the article is called Most Famous Sociopaths Who Ever Walked the Earth. So there's 4 different sociopaths, but I'm only going to do 2. So we're going to start off with Ted Bundy. So Ted Bundy, in case you don't know who he is, he was attractive and he had a good personality, and his crimes, his murders that he murdered, I don't know how to English today, was in the 1970s. So he preyed on women. And a lot of what he did, he was very brutal with his stuff. He beat women, and this is from there. They're talking about how he beat up women. He made them suffer. Really wanted them to suffer. And he was very well liked. So he got away with his stuff for a long time. So we're going to go back and see, do we agree with the article? Is he a sociopath or is he a psychopath? So since he was able to be super likable and he seemed to be very genuine, I'm going to agree that he was a sociopath. And since he did really want to beat up women and do this type of stuff, and he was very dangerous, I'm going to agree that it's sociopaths. And also, psychopaths are not typically violent. I don't know if I already said that, but psychopaths are not typically violent. So since he was very violent, I'm going to go with sociopaths. All right. And I feel like most serial killers are sociopaths since they are very dangerous. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and continue on to Jeffrey Dahmer. So, Jeffrey Dahmer, he was a cannibal from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I used to live near there. But he did this in the 70s and 80s. What's up with the 70s and the 80s? What happened during that time where people just seemed to be like off their rockers? I mean, I know there were a lot of drugs that were going on, but what happened where they were like, this is the time to murder? It just seems very odd. So there's some things I'm not going to list that he did because they're quite disturbing, but he's known for being a cannibal. And a lot of rap songs, they rap about him because of being a cannibal, and that rhymes with a lot of things. And he dismembered bodies, and he mainly, from what I found, he mainly preyed on young boys and men. So again, because he is very violent, and I couldn't really find anything on if he was super likable. I never really found anything on, because I did do a little bit of research, not gonna lie. I did do a little bit of research. I couldn't find anything about him being super likable, and I didn't really want to look at interviews of him because that's a little disturbing. But it seems to be that he is a sociopath. But this is where it's borderline. He could be a psychopath that just went a little too far, because I don't know about his personality. But I'm going to say that he is a sociopath just since he was very violent and thought a lot about, hurting people. So now we're going to go into famous sociopaths who aren't serial killers. So this one is Jack Henry Abbott, Abbott. Is that Abbott? He was an author. And he went to jail for... he went to prison. He didn't go to jail. No. He went straight to prison. Let me see. What books did he write? Let's see. Let's look him up. Like I said, I did some research. I didn't do a lot of research. I did some. So Jack Henry Abbott. This episode is so fun to me. I don't know if this is fun to you guys, but it's fun to me. So he's a pretty famous one. He wrote In the Belly of the Beast, which I've heard a lot about. I've not read it yet. Wow, what is it about? About the injustices of prison. Okay. We'll find out what your crime was in a minute. He also wrote My Return. And then How Do Prisons Affect Criminals? So it seems like he tried to make this connection with people through his books. So making that connection and I don't know if he wanted empathy or sympathy, because I mean sympathy is genuine, empathy is not. So I'm thinking he wanted sympathy. I think he wanted something genuine, since psychopaths are generally, genuine people to an extent. Yeah, since they can have close relationships. Okay, all right. I already said his crime. So his crime was forgery. He also robbed a bank. And in prison, he stabbed someone. Dang. Okay, so he was violent. He was a violent man. So I'm gonna put him in the sociopaths. I'm gonna put him in the sociopath part for sure, since that's crazy. He stabbed someone once he was in prison. I mean, he went there for forgery. And that was a murder. So he stabbed someone and murdered them. That's crazy. So not only did he write novels, but he also wrote plays and films. That's very interesting. He enjoyed attention. I can tell he craved attention. Doing all that? Yeah, for sure. And he also stabbed somebody else. This is so loud. I'm so sorry. Let me turn on my mic. Wow, he stabbed somebody else. It was a waiter. It was a waiter because they wouldn't let him use the employee bathroom. I wonder what the situation with that was. I wonder if they just didn't let him use the bathroom in general, or if he was like, no, I want to use the employee one. I want to use the employee one for sure, which the employee bathrooms typically are not that much nicer than the public ones. I mean, maybe just a tiny bit, because there's not as many people going in and out, so, there's not going to be, like, doo-doo stains on the toilet. But he died in 2002 in prison by suicide. But a lot of people do like him because of his charm. So because of all that, I think hands down, he is a sociopath. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on sociopaths, because I do want to get to psychopaths. So we're going to go ahead and go to famous female sociopaths. Yes, female empowerment. And I'm seeing on here that there's not really many female sociopaths. So either females are really good with hiding it, or it's just not as common for it to happen to women. And that could be because it is caused by outsiding factors. Okay, so we have... I'm going to read both of these, because both of these are crazy. So we're going to talk about Diane Downs. I've heard of her name before. I just haven't really... I haven't really, looked much into her. So, Diane Downs wanted to have children, but she was with a man that didn't want children. So she murdered her children? What? I am so confused here. So this is what the article says. I hope I do not get copyrighted, because I'm not trying to. But I want to read you what this says, because I am fairly confused. So it says Diane Downs was after a man who didn't want children. To get what she wanted, him, the man, she murdered her children. Oh, okay. I see what happened here. So she had children. She pre-existingly had children. The man that she wanted didn't want children. So she murdered her children that she had for this man. That is psychotic. I mean, sociopathic. But I think, okay, here's where I'm a little confused. I think she could be a psychopath. Only because she didn't have a close, intimate relation with her children. Because if she did, she wouldn't have killed them. So, but they also, psychopaths can't feel love. And she felt love towards that man. So that is where I'm torn. I'm going to go with psychopath, though. But they're not typically violent. So that's the thing. I'm going to go sociopaths because it's 2 versus 1. Sociopath 2, psychopath 1 with her behavior. So I'm a little confused there. Tell me what you think. All right. So we're going to go to the next one. I'm going to say DeAndre because that sounds right. Hunt. It's spelled Deidre. And then Hunt is the last name, Hunt. So she tortured and murdered a young man. Wow. And videotaped the whole thing. Wow. For her and somebody else's own pleasure and entertainment. Oh my gosh. So just because they wanted, that's crazy. So her and somebody else decided to kill somebody and videotape it just so they can watch it over and over. But I guess that isn't that crazy because excuse me, I like a little hiccup. Because back in the Roman days, they used to put people in, what are they, coliseums? What are they called? Whenever it's around. If my theater teacher is listening to this, I'm so sorry. I know you taught us about this. So to my theater teachers from high school, I'm so sorry. By the way, I'm not in high school anymore. I'm just putting that out there. I don't know why that even matters. Like, it's not, I don't care if y'all think I'm in high school. I do not care. But anyway. So, wow. Oh, but what I was going back to is in the Roman days, they used to, have fight to the death. Usually they had the poorest people in town who were in a lot of debt go after each other, or some really strong people. It all just kind of depended on who they got to go in the ring. And a lot of the times going into that ring was a badge of honor. Because if you won, you were looked at as a hero in town. So, I guess that makes sense in the way that we develop as humans, that DeAndre could have just been less developed with her mentality. I want to look her up. I want to see what she looked like. I can't even find what she looks like. Oh, there we go. I found her. She looks scary. Okay. Yeah, she looks terrifying. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. But I kind of think back whenever the Roman times existed, I wonder if they were just a bunch of sociopaths. And how do we develop this type of empathy and stuff? How do we develop this empathy and for people, and having sympathy for people where it's genuine, and I'm very interested in that. Okay, so that's enough for sociopaths. I want to put her in... Okay, I gotta talk about whether I think that she's a sociopath or a psychopath. I think it's 1-to-1. 1-to-1, because torturing and murdering, that goes in the sociopath category. But she doesn't have a connection with, like, she wasn't able to make a connection with this person. So that's where I say psychopath. But I'm going to go sociopath for the sake of this podcast, because I'm just not sure. All right, we're going to do 3 more, but we're going to do it under the psychopath category. So in this it says, so the ones that they have listed, this is, by the way, let me tell you what website this is. This is Reader's Digest, 15 of the most famous psychopaths in history. So they have a lot of murderers on here, which I do not believe that... I don't believe that most of these are psychopaths, because a lot of people that are on here are serial killers, which, as we talked about, are sociopaths. But I do want... Okay, so there is one that I want to talk about on here, though. They have Vlad the Impaler. Yeah, Impaler. So this is... Sorry, I need to move you guys for a minute because I've somehow moved everything up. So Vlad is the original Dracula. So he's the one that Dracula is based off of, for those of you who did not know. So Dracula was a real person, but not really. Dracula is somebody kind of different. But anyway. So he is from the 15th century Transylvania, and he was very brutal to people, and like Dracula, he wants to suck your blood. That was a very bad impression. I'm so sorry. Like how, what is that movie called? Hotel Transylvania, where, you know, he always goes, I want to suck your blood. And he would leave people impaled, just like he was called the Impaler. But he was... Okay, so he died. He would often leave people impaled. Oh, he would put people on display outside of his castle and let them suffer to death. That is crazy. So... Oh my gosh, are you guys ready? Okay, I want you guys to take a guess of how many people you think he killed. So, and how many people you think he impaled. So he impaled around 20,000 people, but he killed a total of 80,000 people. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. That is bonkers. Okay. So, we're going to debate whether we think he is a psychopath or a sociopath. So, he was very dangerous. I mean, 80,000 people? He killed 80,000 people. So, he was very, very dangerous. So, that's a point towards sociopaths. He didn't make any connections, though, because he would not have killed that many people. He must have killed all of Transylvania. Because in that century, there were not that many people around. I don't think. Maybe. I need to stop saying stuff without research. I need to stop spreading misinformation. But anyway, so, I mean, he must have killed like a large portion of Transylvanians. Dang. So I'm going to say a point for psychopaths for not making connections. I don't think he tried to look normal. If you look at his picture, I don't think he tried to be normal. So I'm going to give another point towards psychopath. They're not typically violent, so that's where I'm kind of confused. Sociopaths are very reckless, though. But psychopaths are strategists. And he had a strategy. He had a strategy if he killed that many people. So I'm going to give a point towards psychopaths. So my end result is psychopath, that he was just a very dangerous psychopathic person. He was one of those rare cases because, wow, that's a lot of people. All right, we're going to talk about another later or early in life type of person. Elizabeth Bathory. Is that her last name? It's Elizabeth and then B-A with the asterisk on the top. Is that what it's called? An asterisk? I don't know. Thory, Thor. Why? So she is one of the most famous female serial killers. She murdered, get ready for how many people she killed? Of young girls. These were all young girls. 600. Because, okay, so she thought if she killed all these young girls, if she would be able to stay young and look young. I mean, she was quite beautiful. I have a picture pulled up of her, and she looked quite gorgeous. But she must have just been so into her appearance that she was like, I need to kill these women. So she was trying to sacrifice women. And she would drink the blood of her victims. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Sorry, I'm just so flabbergasted today because these are nuts. This is why I wanted to do a live reading of all of this. So she never really was put on trial, but she was on house arrest. But she died in 1614. And she died while she was under house arrest. But she never really had an official trial. And she, by the way, she was in Hungary, the country Hungary. Is that a country? I'm so sorry. I look so uneducated today. I promise you. Like I mentioned before, I did graduate high school. I did. I'm going back to college soon. So I do want to put that out there. I am somewhat educated. I have some college experience, so I promise I'm educated. I read books. I'm an author. I'm so sorry I keep going. I'm so sorry about that. I keep saying words so breathily. Wow, that's nuts. Okay. If you want to read more about psychopaths, I have to discuss whether I think she's a psychopath or a sociopath. So I think she's a psychopath because she did not build relationships. She very much just cared about herself. I don't even think she tried to be normal. Wow, that was crazy. Alright. And with sociopaths, the reason why she was very dangerous. But I don't know. I think psychopath. I'm just going to say psychopath. Because she did not create loving relationships. And she was just crazy with it. Okay. I'm going to be right back. Guys. Alright, guys. So I'm back. I don't know if it cut off or anything whenever I started saying alright, guys. Because, I have to press the record button again. So anyway. Thank you so much for listening to episode 2 of my podcast and part 2 of the Behind the Evil series. You guys are awesome for listening to this because I know I talk a lot. I understand that. So thank you if you made it to the end. And so I'm going to go ahead and close. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, you can. My personal Instagram is Destiny, DESTINY _Bradshaw, BRADSHAW, just like the football player. I'm not related to him, although maybe I am. Who knows? But yeah, so it's just like the football player's last name. And then if you want to follow my book stuff, because I am an author, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, it is at Bradshaw Books. BRADSHAW BOOKS. And if you would like to submit any stories or follow anything of DoEvilDeeds information is at DoEvilDeeds on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. If you want to submit any stories, don't forget to click the links, click the comments, any of the things, press the Google form to submit your story. And without further ado, thank you so much for listening, and do evil deeds.